Finally, in our top five, Iran is calling for an immediate end to the violence against Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. In a letter to the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif expressed deep concern over the deplorable situation of the persecuted minority. He said the Rohingya are subject to the violence and killing on a daily basis, that many of them have been forced from their homes. Zarif reiterated that the mistreatment of Rohingya Muslims runs counter to the UN Charter and basic human rights. Top Iranian diplomat highlighted that the systematic violation of the Rohingyas' rights and stripping them of their right to citizenship will have grave consequences for peace and stability in Myanmar and neighboring countries as well. He said the UN is expected to intervene and take prompt action to end the Rohingyas' plight. Johnny Miller is a journalist joining us from London. Johnny Miller, Iran is voicing obviously its concern. It has done in the past, but this time it's a direct appeal to the new UN Secretary General. Do you think that this will be of high importance for the new UN Secretary General?
Well, I certainly very much welcome the letter that the Iranians have sent to the new UN General, but it's clear that more countries have to take a stand. At the moment, Iran is clearly upset about what's happening in Myanmar. Malaysia is another country which is taking a lead on standing up for Rohingya rights. They're actually sending an aid flotilla right now to Rakhine states where most of the violence is going on. The Myanmar government in turn has criticized Malaysia, saying, asking them not to send this flotilla. So Malaysia and Iran particularly have been trying to pressure the United Nations and voice their anger on this issue. Recently, a group of Nobel Prize winners have signed a letter criticizing fellow Nobel Prize winner, Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader of Myanmar, of course. So all this international pressure is important. At the moment, it's the only kind of pressure that's happening against the Myanmar government. But for the UN to really take action, it's going to take other big regional and indeed global powers to take a stand as well. But at the moment, they don't seem to have enough interests in order to help the Rohingya population.
Even when video went viral, like the one that I'm sure you saw, had a soldier who was pointing the camera, and behind him, he had a cigarette in his mouth, and behind him they were beating up the Rohingyas. Doesn't that have show proof of the government being complicit, and therefore there should be accountability?
Well, I mean, it's been a few years since I was in Myanmar covering this issue, but for me on the ground there, it was very clear the government is overwhelmingly to blame and complicit in what is happening there. From the reports I've heard coming out, it seems the very same thing is happening from when I was there. So there's little doubt. I mean, obviously the United Nations has to go in and investigate these things. Human rights groups has to go in. Journalists aren't being allowed in. But from my point of view, and anybody who's covered the Rohingya issue will tell you, I'm sure, the same thing, that the government is overwhelmingly complicit in what is happening. It's them that have to be criticized for human rights abuses. The world knows that. What has to happen is action. And at the moment, only a few countries and individuals are taking that action to pressure the Myanmar government.
Johnny Miller, pleasure talking to you, and it's good to see you. That's journalist Johnny Miller there talking to us.